So you head outside, everything's on fire. Snot rockets that are black. Runners across the country, across the world in 2020, I want to talk to you about whether or not it is worth going for a run during wildfire season, because it's 2020. Because it's 2020 and the entire world is on fire. Full disclosure, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert on air quality. All I know is that I love to go running. I run in the snow, I will run in the rain, I will run on a boat, I'll run on a train. Point is, I just love to get out and get my miles in. Not just to stay in shape, but it's good for my mind. I'm sure a lot of you are the exact same way. You just need to get out. But the question is, if you are lucky enough to live in an area where they're not rioting and looting and shooting people on the streets, that's great. But you still might not be able to get out because of smoke from wildfires. So how smoky is too smoky, and should you risk it and go out and run when air quality isn't at its best? The short answer is no. You're better off staying indoors. This isn't just for runners. All athletes that look outside and see a scene like this should probably stay indoors. So the problem with running in smoke, from all of the articles that I read, basically boil down to these three things. The first is that burning organic matter creates toxins that get into the air, and those toxins are small enough to not only make it into your lungs, but in many cases into your bloodstream, especially if you're getting smoke from like out of state. Those are probably the smallest particles because they're light enough to be carried by the wind. The really heavy and dense stuff is going to stay in the state that the fire started in. But if you're living in a state where you're getting secondhand smoke from a neighboring state, or somewhere way far away from you in your actual state that's on fire, those particles are probably small enough to make it into your lungs and into your bloodstream, which is a problem for everyone, especially women who are pregnant or thinking about becoming pregnant. Because as far as we know, men still can't have babies in 2020. So those particles that are teeny, teeny, tiny, it doesn't matter if you're outside or inside, they're still going to be in the air. So you should probably refrain from running, because when you're out there running and working hard, your lungs are operating at a higher capacity than if you're at rest. So you might still be breathing the smoky air if you're just sitting around inside or walking around outside. My children don't respect me at all. What? So if you've got months and months of wildfire season and smoke outside, it might be best to just like not go running outside or inside if the air is bad enough, because it's bad for you. The second really big issue with running in smoky air is that sunlight reacts with particles in smoke to create ozone. Why is that a problem? I forgot. Hello, this is Chris. Now I'm an expert in all things ozone. Ozone, the primary issue with ozone is it can cause respiratory issues, and it can make you more susceptible to respiratory infections. If you already have asthma or a pre-existing respiratory health complication, it can aggravate that. And let's keep in mind, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and COVID-19 is a respiratory infection. So if you're out running and breathing in smoke that has been reacting with the sun, and there's high levels of ozone in the air, not only are you breathing in smoke and taking in toxins, but you're also making yourself more susceptible to be hit negatively by COVID-19, which I got, and it wasn't that bad for me, but some people get it and they die. And it's hard to tell what the factors are that cause somebody to die or sleep it off in 24 hours like me and my family did. But if you're out putting your lungs at risk, it's definitely not going to help you. And then the third issue with going out and running in the smoke kind of comes down to an article that I cannot find for the life of me, so it's probably not going to be included in the description of this video, but there was a study that was funded by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and there was a scientist that went out and studied rhesus monkeys. There's cute little monkeys that, granted, they're not humans, so there's slight biological differences, but in my mind, it's the same thing. Basically, what she did is she looked at the lungs of baby monkeys that were born during a fire season where there was a lot of smoke in the air, and then monkeys that were born when the sun was shining and everything was great. And basically, what she wanted to do was study what long-term effects this would cause for bringing up respiratory issues in the group that was born during wildfire season. What she found was that these young monkeys that were born during the smoky season, actually their lungs were more brittle and didn't have the ability to expand as wide or as large. They couldn't fill as deeply as the monkeys that were born during normal circumstances, which was worse than what she had anticipated. She thought she would just find like breathing problems like monkey asthma in these little monkeys, but it was more sinister than that. Like it like crusted up their lungs. So if you've got secondhand smoke from wildfires out of state floating above your area, or if you live someplace that looks like hell in the daytime, because some of the pictures and videos that I'm seeing out of the West Coast are just so crazy. I don't even know how people are living, like just living, like forget about running. Just to stay alive there doesn't make sense to me. If you live in one of those places, do not go running, because one thing that I learned for sure after trying to research this, because I wanted to know for myself, is it okay for me to go out and run? Because I can't stop. While I was researching, I realized that not a lot of research has been done on this. Like, people have vague ideas about what the smoke does to you, but there's no long-term study that can like verify that it's X amount of bad for us to go running during wildfire season. So err on the side of caution and just stay inside, take a break, relax, because the big thing about running that I love is it's one of the only sports that you can enjoy for your entire life. I don't see a lot of 80-year-olds out there playing football with each other, but I see plenty of old dudes out there crushing the trails and getting their miles in. And part of what allows you to do that is being smart along the way. Like, as your journey as a lifelong runner, you got to make smart decisions, and this is a smart decision. Don't go running if the air is bad outside. That's my take. That's my thought process. I would much rather preserve my body now so I can keep using it later, rather than to just get out and get my miles in, which it's sad to let them go, but sometimes you got to make the call. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Are you somewhere where the air is nice and clean, or have you been affected by the wildfires? Let me know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with somebody who you think might use this information because of where they are and what's going on around them. Thanks so much for watching Stride. My name's Christopher Claflin. My co-creator Rush is enjoying Hawaii right now, and he'll be back soon. See you next time. Bye.
Amazing!